And good evening, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips in for Lindsay Davis. Thanks for streaming with us. Today was a painful reminder that sometimes there is damage that just can't be undone. I'm talking about the sexual abuse of dozens of top gymnasts by former Olympic team doctor Larry Nassar and the years of silence by USA Gymnastics and the FBI. Olympic greats Simone Biles, Aly Raisman, Michaela Maroney, and college gymnast Maggie Nichols all appeared before the Senate Judiciary Committee today, saying they were betrayed by the FBI agents assigned to investigate their abuse allegations and by the leaders of the sport they loved. The greatest gymnast on the planet, Simone Biles, spoke today of an entire system that enabled a monster to victimize her and so many others. FBI Director Chris Wray wasn't there to argue with these brave survivors, and he offered his apology. So what happens next? ABC's congressional correspondent Rachel Scott leads us off from Capitol Hill.
Tonight, four of the greatest athletes in the history of American gymnastics demanding justice, telling Congress they were betrayed by the FBI agents assigned to investigate their allegations of sexual abuse by team doctor Larry Nassar.
I don't want another young gymnast, Olympic athlete, or any individual to experience the horror that I and hundreds of others have endured before, during, and continuing to this day in the wake of the Larry Nassar abuse. To be clear, sorry.
Take your time.
To be clear, I blame Larry Nassar, and I also blame an entire system that enabled and perpetrated his abuse.
In sacrificing my childhood for the chance to compete for the United States, I am haunted by the fact that even after I reported my abuse, so many women and girls had to suffer at the hands of Larry Nassar. USA Gymnastics and the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee and the FBI have all betrayed me and those who were abused by Larry Nassar after I reported.
Gold medalist Aly Raisman accusing the FBI of lying and dragging its feet for more than a year.
Over the past few years, it has become painfully clear how a survivor's healing is affected by the handling of their abuse. And it disgusts me that we are still fighting for the most basic answers and accountability over 6 years later. It took over 14 months for the FBI to contact me, despite my many requests to be interviewed by them. Nassar found more than 100 new victims to molest. It was like serving innocent children up to a pedophile on a silver platter.
Her teammate Michaela Maroney describes telling FBI agents how Nassar started abusing her when she was just 13.
I then told the FBI about Tokyo the day he gave me a sleeping pill for the plane ride to then work on me later that night. That evening, I was naked, completely alone, with him on top of me, molesting me for hours. I told them I thought I was going to die that night because there was no way that he would let me go. But he did. I told them I walked the halls of Tokyo Hotel at 2 a.m. at only 15 years old. I began crying at the memory over the phone, and there was just dead silence. I was so shocked at the agent's silence and disregard for my trauma. After that minute of silence, he asked, "Is that all?" Those words in itself was one of the worst moments of this entire process for me. To have my abuse be minimized and disregarded by the people who were supposed to protect me, just to feel like my abuse was not enough. But the truth is, my abuse was enough, and they wanted to cover it up.
Maroney accusing the FBI of covering up her claims to protect Nassar.
Why are public servants whose job is to protect getting away with this? This is not justice. Enough is enough. Today, I ask you all to hear my voice. I ask you, please do all that is in your power to ensure that these individuals are held responsible and accountable for ignoring my initial report.
Nassar will likely spend the rest of his life in prison. One of the FBI agents on the case has retired. The other one recently fired. Today, Director Christopher Wray personally apologizing to the women.
I'm deeply and profoundly sorry to each and every one of you. I'm sorry that so many different people let you down over and over again. And I'm especially sorry that there were people at the FBI who had their own chance to stop this monster back in 2015 and failed.
Wray then making this pledge.
I and my entire senior leadership team are going to make damn sure everybody at the FBI remembers what happened here in heartbreaking detail.
Really gut-wrenching testimony there on Capitol Hill. Rachel Scott joining us now. So, Rachel, we heard that apology from Wray, but these women want more than just an apology.
Exactly right, Kira. They really want action here. You know, so much of today's hearing was also focused on accountability, and we heard from these women talk about how the FBI handled this and the way that it still significantly impacts them, that they have PTSD, that they are exhausted leaving the Capitol today after speaking up and sharing their stories. They hope that today is enough, but they do want more action from the federal government. Kira.
So, Rachel, what's next?
Well, that is the top of the mind for a lot of the gymnasts here today. They were pressing lawmakers on what exactly does come next. One thing that was notable today is that the Department of Justice did not have the Attorney General or Deputy Attorney General come to this hearing. They were invited by two of the Democratic senators. They denied that. No explanation as to why. And many of the gymnasts leaving today were furious that the Justice Department refused to send anyone else, including the Attorney General, to listen and hear their stories. They said it's almost as if they seem like they just didn't care, Kira.
Well, back to the survivors. You caught up, actually, with Allie Raisman and her mother, Lynn, shortly after the testimony today. This was off camera, so what did they tell you?
Yeah, I did. It was right before they left the Capitol, and you really got a sense just of how big of a toll this has put on all of these women, but including Allie Raisman, who told me that she was exhausted leaving here today, that she felt like leaving out of that hearing that she didn't even know if she could even walk out. I mean, it is just really cannot be understated, rather, the courage that these women had to come here to the Capitol to share their stories. But again, they reiterated this message that they do want action here, that these apologies, that the words conveyed by the senators today will mean nothing if there is not action followed up. Kira?
Well, their words definitely meant something. Rachel Scott, thank you.